Hello, and welcome to Virtual Investor Conferences. My name is Matt Lateplo, and on behalf of OTC Markets, we're very pleased you have joined us for today's battery and precious metals presentations. Our next live presentation comes from Golden Arrow Resources Corp. Before I introduce our speaker, a few points to note. Please submit your questions in the question box to the left of the slides. If you are interested in scheduling a meeting with Golden Arrow, please click on the Meetings tab found on the left navigation bar. You'll be able to view the company's availability and submit a meeting request. On a final note, all of today's presentations will be recorded and available for 24/7 replay. At this point, I'm very pleased to welcome Brian McEwen, Vice President of Exploration and Development of Golden Arrow Resources Corp., which trades on the OTCQB venture market under the symbol GARWF and on the TSXV under the symbol GRG. Welcome, Brian.
Hi, Matt. Thank you very much. Good to be here. I'd like to just thank everybody to come out and listen into a presentation today, listening to Matt talk about precious metals and battery metals. I was wondering if this was really going to fit, but actually we're going to fit very well because as a precious metals company, we found some value in some of the other things that we've found and what we're looking for. So it's going to be good to talk about that. The story of Golden Arrow is truly one of past successes and growth in the future. And so I'd like to just touch on a little bit about that and then focus on our main projects. This is cautionary notes. This is just I'll be making some forward-looking statements, so you've all been warned as we go through this. I always like to start the presentation with this because I think as anybody looks at it as a junior company, this is really the important things that you want to look at. It's not like investing in some of the big majors and stuff. So this is really something to pay attention to. You want to make sure that you've got a proven management, people that have done this before. They've got the experience in the things that they're doing. Can they afford what they say they're going to do? Do they have money? Do they have a plan to bring money in? And what's the projects that they're going to be working on? Is it in a safe place geopolitically? Are they going to be able to get it done? Or are they going to have problems permitting those types of things? And we hit all of those, and we're very, very happy to be doing this today as we just started our drilling program just the end of last week. So we're right in the middle of exploration, and things are happening fast and furious for us at the site. A little bit about the history of the company. Golden Arrow is part of the Grosso group of companies. Is a very successful group headed up by Joe Grosso. Has been working mostly in Argentina since 1993. 4 discoveries to the company's name. One from our sister company, Blue Sky Uranium. And then the one most recently, the Chinchilla Silver Project, is a project that we discovered in 2012. And when we sold that as part of our deal, that gave us the money to advance into what we're doing right now. So it's a project that hopefully we're going to be able to repeat again. The leadership, again, under Joe Grosso, we've got a very strong team, technically, legally good business minds, worked together for a lot of years, and there's a lot of good synergy within the group. I mentioned the Chinchilla story. This is really a success story. In 2012, we discovered the Chinchilla Silver Project in Argentina. We very quickly moved that to a resource estimate and a PEA where we could attract the attention of a miner that was running out of ore and looking at the possibility of shutting the operation down. That was Silver Standard, their Perquitas operation. So we convinced them that this is a good place to go, and we went after it. And we were in commercial production in 2018. So in 6 years, we went from drill holes discovery to commercial success. And I think that this is a model that we're looking to repeat. Growth and discovery. This is the second part of the success part. We've got our main flagship project, which I want to talk about most of this presentation. It's a iron, copper, gold, cobalt project that has, I think, a very good future. We also have a lot of core portfolio projects right now that we've joint ventured in very prospective areas of Argentina. And we're continually looking at new projects, and we have a staff looking at some very interesting things in Argentina. Any one of those could be company makers, but for now, we're going to concentrate on what we're doing in Chile at our San Pietro project. This is a project that we own 100% outright. It came to us by the way of an invite on a bid process on an auction, and we put in our bid, and we won it. We happened to be in a position at the time where we had a lot of cash on hand. We To be honest with you, I didn't know that we would win it with the bid that we put in, but we did, and we were very happy. And we closed that deal in March last year, and started to move forward. So we've got 18,000 hectares, or 185 square kilometers, and we believe that this is could be a Chinchillas type opportunity where we advance the project and then bring in a partner. We're located in probably one of the best mining areas of the world. This is in Chile, or for mining copper, anyways. And we're in Chile. We're near Copiapó, about 100 kilometers north, in what could be called iron oxide, copper, gold mecca of the world. I mean, outside of maybe you've got Olympic Dam in Australia, but this is in the neighborhood of giants. We have Manto Verde and Santo Domingo, and these projects very close to the coast with very well established infrastructure, desalination, and all the power and things you need to develop a mine. I don't think that there's a better place anywhere in the world to be developing a project than this part in Chile. And if you look on this the little map there where we've got the 30 kilometers, that's all San Pietro, and we sit in the middle of a couple of different mines. And taking a closer look at this is a property we picked up. This is the San Pietro project, ours in the middle in yellow, and then on the immediate east of us is Santo Domingo, and to the west we have the Manto Verde project. As we were making the deal on San Pietro, at the same time Capstone was making a deal with Manto Verde, and they merged the two operations. So now Manto Verde and Santo Domingo are both owned by Capstone, and you can see there that they've got between the two projects a billion tons of resources and reserves, and then we got all that property right in the middle. And I like to say that we got the jelly in the donut. And we're very happy about that. There's also projects to the north and the south and operating mines. Candelaria is not far from here, so it really is a district, iron oxide, copper, gold. And what's really interesting in here is that the Santo Domingo project was purchased by Capstone from a company called Frontier several years ago, and they paid upwards of $700 million for that project. They did the initial feasibility, and it with metal prices and the way things were, it didn't fly. And then most recently, they've gone back and done a pre-feasibility, now feasibility, to move this into production. And that was by incorporating the cobalt. The cobalt was a game changer for them. In the past, I mean, recent people wouldn't have maybe moved so quickly on San Pietro and stuff. Cobalt was not where it is right now, and the role and the importance. And you can see there on the Santo Domingo, we've listed the resources there, and they got some copper, the gold, the iron, and the cobalt of 229 grams per ton cobalt in their reserves. And you'll see as we go through this that our grades of cobalt are quite a bit higher in a lot of places. And again, looking at where you want to build a mine, it's really location, and this is the location. This is actually a picture of our Rincones area, one of the areas I'll talk about in just a little bit. But we're 8 kilometers from D. Almagro. It's a mining town. It has all the support equipment and facilities and people, able workforce. We've got a road network all the way across the property. You can see this is a paved highway that goes across our property. There's a power line there. And as I mentioned, we have the desalination plants and the able workforce. So as far as infrastructure goes, this is where you want to be working, as opposed to, at least for us, the high Andes, where everything can get very expensive very quickly. And we are, this is typical IOCG. A lot of these projects in this area have very, very similar mineralization and metals. We see at our project, we have these mantles and the breccias that host the copper, and what we see also is that in the pyrite we have a lot of cobalt, and that's really key. is because in the past, the pyrite had very little value, but now the cobalt is being recovered from the pyrite, and as well from the pyrite, sulfuric acid is being made, and that's being used for the leaching of the oxides. Sulfuric acid has become very expensive, and also can be used to make urea fertilizer. So this whole idea of the battery metals and the cobalt has really become a key component of the mining in this area. We picked up this project, as I mentioned, in a bid on an auction. The property had been owned by Sumitomo previous to us. Sumitomo had done an awful lot of work. They'd done about 30,000 meters of drilling, 1,000 rock samples. They'd done geophysics over the property. You can see there where they got the little circles. Those were the areas that they were drilling, and that was all within mostly in the Rincones area where they were trying to develop a resource. They did do a resource back in 2011, 2012, but with metal prices the way they were, it just kind of it's sat there, and after being on the shelf for 10 years, Sumitomo decided that they wanted to just get out of this part of the business and put it up for auction, and that's kind of the history and the reason that they didn't really chase it at that time. So when we went in there to start our due diligence before we made the purchase, we looked at a lot of things, and we kind of questioned some of the ideas, but they had really defined four zones, four target areas. Once we were on the property, we saw that there was much more than just the four targets. There could be a lot of targets here that contained within this 185 square kilometers. And these other properties here that you see that are in yellow, we're negotiating for these projects as well. So our project of 18,000 hectares is only going to get bigger. So we spent since last March right up until recently, right up to the end of the year, just going through the old data, fixing the database, relogging the core surface sampling, all those really good geological things that you do to advance a project when the market was cold. Nothing was really happening much. We were just coming out of COVID. So we got to do all of that work under the radar with the plan of developing a drill program. We did a short geophysics program, and that helped us understand the project. And we've just started our drilling program just last week, and the drills are turning there now. This is actually a pretty interesting slide, and if you go back and you can see what's happened with metal prices over the last 10 years or so. So back when this would have been evaluated, copper prices were way down. Cobalt had no value. There were no plans to recover it. Iron was, had some ups and downs, and of course gold has really come around. So when we did our evaluation of this, we didn't look at any one metal. We looked at it on an NPV or net present value basis, and we ended up finding that this is very, very attractive target, and especially with these metal prices that all look like they're increasing. And I believe as time goes on, and the demand for these battery metals and for copper, in fact, will keep going higher. And the cobalt potential in Chile has been recognized. This little caption here is right off of the Capstone website. Capstone to advance cobalt project at Santo Domingo to feasibility opportunity to build a vertically integrated cobalt business in Chile, and that's really become a big target. And when you listen to some of the things they're doing, it's the metal companies or the battery companies that are approaching these people in and those are the same people that we're going to be attracting, and that's. You're talking now the car companies, the Teslas, the LGs, and stuff. People that we never might have thought of in the past. And this is not gotten missed by the Chilean mining group either. This is from the mining minister. The potential of cobalt production in Chile has been underappreciated for decades. Projections demand suggest that it could triple in size by 2030, mainly due to the development of electric mobility. And when you consider these places here, all listed on the left, where most of the cobalt's coming right now. I don't know about you, but none of those places are on my bucket list. So it's good to be able to build something like cobalt in a place that's so safe and safe, and you can count on it. So looking at these targets now, The first one is the Rincones areas, and you can see that's where we've got the yellow circle where majority of the drill holes are. We can go in here right now, and we believe we can drill off a resource. We've got some good numbers, so several holes that have got holes. This is just a typical intersection, and the reason I put this on here, it is a good intersection. There's no question about that, of over 1% copper and over 300 ppm cobalt, but that's higher than what you're seeing in the Santo Domingo resources on just the other side of the border. So that's the numbers there that we need to compare. Now, you can't compare a single drill hole to the reserve. I mean, there's a lot of work that has to go on there, but just to know that we're getting those kind of grades is good. So we're going to go in here and do some drilling. We've got some holes planned in here, and if we get the success we hope, then we'll continue on. We've got a 20,000 meter drill program that has been approved, and we're just going to take that in some steps. As I mentioned, we did some geophysics, and with our surface mapping, we found that our interpretation was actually different than what had been done in the past. We found that we believe that these rocks and these beds that are going to be holding these mineralizations are actually dipping the other way. They had interpreted this as being very steep and dipping to the east, and in fact, they're dipping we believe to the west. And so our first part of the drill program is actually to go in there, and we've got, I think, about 2,600 meters of drilling. It's just to go in there and to prove or disprove our interpretation. And once we have an idea of what we're dealing with, we'll go back in here and we'll drill it off to the to the level we need to have it. So moving on from San Pietro, we go to just to the south to our Coya project, our project area. And what's interesting about Coya, and this is another example of why in the past this area might have been ignored, but right now it's got so much interest. You can see that the copper values in here are pretty low, but the cobalt values, you're over 600, so you're more than twice the grade of what you're seeing at Santo Domingo. So you've got really good cobalt numbers and iron numbers, and we believe that this is part of a structure that goes all the way up into the north. Right now we've traced this for about 2.5 kilometers. And what's really interesting is that you look at the firm twos, and we've got these in each of these areas, whether it's Coya or the next one we look at, we're seeing these intersections of cobalt and stuff quite close to the surface. And when you look at the mine plan and the development plan that Capstone's put together, we just need to find stuff closer to the surface that's cheaper than the ore that they're mining, and I think that'll look very attractive to their plant. In Coya, I mentioned we've got a couple of drill holes planned there as part of our initial drilling in here. We did an IP resistivity survey here just at the beginning of the new year, and you can see the colors, the warmer colors underneath. Those are indicative of something that has a high chargeability, and we're hoping that that's going to be magnetite bands, and that's where the big heavy iron and copper will be in those. So we've got a couple of holes targeting that, and on the other side in these breccia pipes, another place where we find the mineralization. So in Coya, we've got some good indications there, and that's right now we're drilling. We're on the first hole there on the right, that RCSP01. We're drilling that hole right now. We're down about 50 meters, I think. So by the time we get down to about 150 meters, we should be into that zone, we hope. And then Radas Norte, again, this is just north of Rincones, and the same story, the really good cobalt numbers near the surface, 269, 740, 300. So Radas Norte, these one of the things that really struck me when I went to the property is I'd envisioned that we were going to be developing a big pit here, but it looks more and more like what we'll see is several smaller pits, and they may be one that's going to be more focused towards copper, one focused more toward iron, one focused more cobalt, and develop a whole bunch of different things in the area. And that same thing goes for this area up in Rodeo, where I talked about the 2 kilometer strike length. So there's some really good targets in this area, and this is a stepping back now for an overall view of the area and the drilling. The initial 6 holes there are in red. and then the green holes are our follow-up program that we've got planned in here. But we're very excited about this, and we're I think it's going to be something very interesting for people to watch. And I know that we've got the attention of a lot of other companies that are working in the area. So for 2023 right now, our work plan is, as I mentioned, we've got some more plans for geophysics. We've got to finish our 2,500 meter drill program and immediately go into our follow-up program. As I mentioned, we budgeted for up to 20,000 meters this year. We continue to do a lot of surface work, but it's really coming together in San Pietro, and we're excited to be on the ground and moving this and moving this forward. So upcoming plans and catalysts, of course, I talk about San Pietro. That's our big one. We have several projects in Argentina. We have, like I mentioned, 180,000 square kilometers of 180,000 hectares, of property throughout Argentina. Many of these are high Andes. We've recently signed a deal with a company that's got the project right next door to Filo del Sol, which is the big project that NGX is operating on. We've got some project down further to the south, right across from Barrick's Valadero mine. So we're getting a lot of interest on those projects, as well as the properties that we're actually working on ourselves. As I mentioned, they could be company makers in their own right, and we never stop looking. We're continually looking at new projects. We're looking at valuations and other possible acquisitions. We're very busy all of the time. So we've been busy, and we'll continue to be busy. This is what the company looks like right now. Currently have about 115 million shares issued. Recent market cap is 11 million, and cash equivalents is around 7 million. That number changes because a lot of it is about 300,000 shares that is held in SSR shares that fluctuate anywhere between $18 and $30. So we'll wait till it gets to a high point and maybe move those. But that's very quickly what the company's up to and what we look like. And I always enjoy going back to this slide that I started off with and trying to make the point that this is an important consideration when looking at junior companies and whether to invest. And I think hopefully I've demonstrated that we've got the management to do this, the wherewithal, strong financial position and equity upside, and we've got good projects. We've been working there a long time. We've got a lot of a very, very strong technical group working in Argentina and in Chile, a strong legal team and a very strong business team. And so with that, I'd like to wrap it up. And if there's any questions, I'd be quite happy to answer those. I'll just... would you consider a JV partner? Yeah, we would always consider a JV partner. As a matter of fact, we're always considering JV partners, and I think there's we've got to figure out when the right time to do that or how we would go about it. But yeah, we're talking to a lot of people right now. This would be an open pit mine. That's that's the idea right now. That doesn't mean we wouldn't go underground. There's some small underground operations in the area, but right now this is really based on the scale of moving material. So I think it would be looking at open pits. The infrastructure at San Pietro is it's fantastic. Like I say, they're building a concentrator now, and they're going to build a capstone. They're building a roaster to recover the cobalt from the pyrite. So all of that's in the neighborhood. So we're in really good shape there. Thoughts on your evaluation and what the market is missing? I get asked this question all the time, and it's a difficult one to answer. I think that we've been looking at this project, and I think that there's a lot of people sitting on the side lanes waiting to jump in. We said, "Wow, we're going to start drilling in the beginning of the year," and so people are wondering. I don't know that there's a big rush to do that with the prices the way it is. But as we saw in Chinchillas, once our stock started to move in Chinchillas, it went tenfold very, very quickly. I'm very hopeful that we'll see something similar there. The 2,500 meter drill program that we've started it. That program itself should probably take about a month, I imagine, and the turnaround for assays is probably 4 weeks by the time we get all of the sampling and stuff done. But we'll release that information as it comes along. As far as the people that we employ, we've employed pretty much everybody working on the project is Chilean except for our chief geologist. We've hired the people out of Copiapó and Diego del Magro to be the helpers, and the drilling company itself is from Copiapó. It's all local people. We've got a very good relationship with the local government and the legal team that we've been working with for years. I find working in Chile is very very easy compared to a lot of other places in the world. They see the opportunity of this development, and people get behind that, and that's a real pleasure in working with it. We've currently got our permitting, for instance, is permitted for 39 platforms for our first round of drilling, and so we've basically kind of laid out where we'll be drilling the 39 platforms that we can go back to the ministry and apply for that and get it expanded. But mind you, we're still doing all the right things as far as our environmental and archaeological studies and all those things. You still got to go through those hoops, but if you do it properly, everybody wants to see the development, especially in this part of the world where there's not much else to do. And is there any other questions? Okay, well, if that's it, then I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and listening. And if there's any questions or information that I can provide, or that Sean Perger, our investor relations person, get a hold of him, and he'll get a hold of me, and we'll get back to you and supply the information. But I encourage everybody to watch us, and we're gonna be going places. Thank